So there is a lot of criticism in the way DDCA is being run and the manner in which the selection process or how public at large, people who are interested and connected, are affected by it. What are the ills and ails of DDCA?
So DDCA is a company registered under the Companies Act. It's a Section 8 company. And so is the Delhi Gymkhana Club. I'll just give you a small comparison between the two companies and to show how the government is acting in a highly partisan manner when it comes to the Gymkhana Club and also when it comes to the DDCA. Now, a club, if it has got members, the governing body is decided by the members. So the members elect the president, vice president, etc., and the office bearers. That is true for the Delhi Gymkhana Club. That is true for the DDCA. Now just compare the two. In the Delhi Gymkhana Club, the rules require 50% membership to be given to government and 50% to non-government. And the Delhi Gymkhana Club rules also does not provide for a seniority for the membership. But the Gymkhana Club on its own has a system of taking membership and assigning a seniority in the list, whether it be a government or a non-government list. Now compare it to the DDCA. DDCA, there is no requirement of either government, non-government as a category. Secondly, there is no waiting list. Thirdly, the management, whoever is in the management of the DDCA, decides suddenly to open 400 or 500 membership and gives it arbitrarily without there being any criteria how to make members. Now, when this whole Lodha committee, etc., were constituted, and they felt that since DDCA is a state because it decides the team to represent the state, they, decided of some reforms, and the most of the reforms are with regard to conflict of interest. Nobody, while deciding the Lodha committee, thought of, the composition of the membership of the various cricket associations. And accordingly, there is nothing said in that judgment. Now, what is happening as far as DDC is concerned, that there are families who have 20, 30 members in their family. So the person is a member, his son is a member, the daughter-in-law is a member, somebody is a member, somebody is a member, wife is a member, son-in-law is a member, the grandson is a member. And, all this, some of their employees are also members. So in the same address, there are 30, 40 members and all given arbitrarily. Compare this to the Gymkhana Club. Gymkhana Club has a system of taking membership where by seniority, and it has a mix of government and non-government. Now that it is there it's a 1-year term, here it's a 5-year term, a 3-year term. In the 1-year term, you have to get elected every time by the general body. Here also in the 3-year term, you have to get elected by the general body. Now, here the general body comprises of these people who have been made members by whoever is governing the club at a particular point of time. The result is that although Gymkhana Club has been taken over by the government for the last 5 years, they have not been able to find any wrongdoing by the management of the club so far. And they are somehow clinging onto the management in spite of judgment of the National Company Law Tribunal, Appellate Tribunal, to hold the election, and they are in contempt. Even contempt notices have been issued, but they don't bother. Now, what do they do as far as the DDCA is concerned? DDCA, there is rampant corruption in the selection process because every time you have an election, the number of votes that a particular group can get decides whether he will be able to get elected or not. Now, if a person has 30 voting members in his family, obviously he has a very important say in the elections of the DDCA. So he will decide who will play for the state. He will decide what tenders are to be given by the DDCA. I remember in the Tripura Association, there was a slight wrongdoing with regard to a tender with regard to installation of lights. And the matter was referred to the CBI. The matter came right up to Supreme Court. And the CBI investigation is on. Here there are reports after reports with regard to financial bunglings, with regard to wrongdoings in the DDA, with regard to nepotism, with regard to favoritism. There have been committees, Mukul Mudgal committee, Justice Vikramjit Sen committee, all have pointed out, flagged all these wrongdoings in the DDCA. But the way the management is being run is the same. Mr. Kirti Azad, one of the members of the 83 winning team, had written letters to the DDCA with regard to the wrongdoings. He has also filed a writ petition in the Delhi High Court with regard to this very composition of membership. For 3.5, almost 4 years, nobody is ready to hear the writ. and the rate is just languishing in the High Court. Even yesterday it was listed again, a date has been given. So unfortunately, two Section 8 companies, one being run professionally with a criteria for membership, one being run completely arbitrarily with no criteria for membership and arbitrary membership driven. The one with the professional management is taken over by the government, and the one which is being run arbitrarily and with no criteria for membership is being, the government is turning a complete blind eye to the functioning of the DDCA. So this actually speaks volumes that because cricket has so much of money and the BCCI gives a lot of funding every year to every cricket association. I'm told about 500 to 1,000 crores comes from BCCI every year to the DDCA. But if anybody were to objectively look at what is happening in the DDCA, you will realize how much filth is there in the functioning of the DDCA and how cricketing in Delhi, is the biggest loser. Because I remember when my son was 13 years old and he was a protege of Mr. Madan Lal. I remember I was in Dharamshala that time. I was in a place where there was even my mobile also was not working. At 11 o'clock at night, I got a call in a nearby landline number from Mr. Madan Lal that my son has been declared to be 19 years of age and disqualified from the team. Then I had not even been married for 17 years. My elder son was 16 years then. So I met Mr. Jaitley. I said, just see what has happened to me. I showed him my marriage certificate. I showed him my birth certificate of my elder son, younger son. My younger son was born in the Gangaram hospital here. He said, yes, this is completely wrong. He was a minister then. He said, completely wrong. But unfortunately, I can't do anything. You was also the president of DDCA. You'll have to go to court. When I went to court, I got an order. The judge was completely, aghast. He said, what kind of nonsense is happening in the DDCA? And I got an order in my favor. Next year, I came to know in the selection committee, they rejected my son on the ground that his father goes to court. Now tell me, how did I go to court? How did I land up in court? I landed up in court because Mr. Jaitley told me that there is no other way we can correct this wrong. And then he's again non-suited for that. It's a different matter that my son could ultimately get into, law and he's a successful lawyer today. But just imagine the frustration of a young child aspiring to become a cricketer and being given this kind of treatment. So this is what is happening day in, day out in Delhi as far as aspiring cricketers are concerned. And because the government is hand in glove with the DDCA, they don't just want to protect whatever is happening there. All this goes on and on and on, and there is no check on the functioning of the DDCA. So I think it's a very, very serious issue, and someday somebody will have to definitely look into it and correct this malaise which is there in the DDCA.
Thank you, sir.